Do you feel like you're stuck on the transaction treadmill and just really lacking that momentum going forward? Reflecting and looking back at this last year going, how did I put in all of the time and yet these are just the minimal results that I was given? See, it's not the more hours you work means more dollars in your pocket. It's how do you optimize and maximize your time and your profitability? I'm Kevin Schumacher, and over the last 28 years, I've been helping agents grow their business, becoming more profitable, leveraging technology, and working fewer hours. See, the first thing you want to do is get clear on where your business is actually coming from. Laying out, looking back and reflecting over the last 12 months, 24 months, even 6 months. Where am I getting my business? Where was my last 6 deals, 12, 20, 80, whatever level you are? Getting the clarity of where your business came from is going to let you know where your lowest hanging fruit is to gain momentum and put quick dollars in your pocket, because you can then optimize those areas and those systems. So did your business come from referrals, social media, open houses, online leads, whatever that was? Get really clear on what that was. Then, what are the systems you currently have in place to get wins in those specific areas? And then what we do is we look at those current systems and say, how can we optimize or maximize those? So is it your database? What database are you using? Do you have somebody dialing and calling people for you? Do you have somebody nurturing your referrals? Or again, early in your career, maybe you're the one that's doing all these things. So how do we optimize and maximize your current systems? And then what we do is, when we talk about optimization, we talk about frequency. So when you have a client, whether it's a past client, whether it's a new relationship, somebody that you just met, how do you touch them? We talk about it as hitting them by land, air, and sea. See, that's a phone, that's the postcard, that's a handwritten note, maybe it's a video blast through BombBomb. So looking at those different systems and again, maximizing and optimizing. What additional pillars of lead generation also can you add to your business? See, for many people, again, being new to the business or being in the business a long time, typically your number one priority is going to be your sphere of influence. So when we look at the 5 key pillars of lead generation, it's going to be sphere of influence, open houses, calling FSBOs expireds, farming neighborhoods, or online lead generation. So early in your career, it's a matter, usually you're going to have more time than money. So are you exchanging time for money or money for time? Later in your career, when you have some money saved up, you're going to be happy to write a check if that's going to help expedite the results. But early on, again, you don't have that. So what different things can you do and maximize? So first, when the 5 pillars of lead generation, it's going to be your sphere of influence. When you look at your sphere, are you consistently contacting every single person in your database once a month, once a quarter, even once a year? I remember early on in my career, one of my coaches says, Kevin, you always wait to pull the trigger at 95%. Pull it at 70. I'm like, John, I don't do anything half-assed. And he's like, I don't mean do it half-assed. What I mean is everyone wants to go look at building a full touch campaign out for 12 months and do 12 touches. Why don't you do 4 touches a year, then add to it? That's 70%. Okay, pull the trigger quicker and start implementing. But what many do is they don't have the proper information. So we have a system that we put in place, which is our sphere of influence engagement system. And what that does is it's a touch campaign that allows us to touch all of our clients. Initially it was once a quarter, now it's once a month of something of value. And we're hitting them by land, by air, and by sea. But the only way you can do that is if you have all the proper data. So what we do is we have a script that we reach out to our client, whether that's a new client or somebody that we've been working with a long time. And it's either the new introduction or it's the re-engagement and seeing how they're doing, but also wanting to get permission if we can reach out to them on a regular basis, adding value, letting them know that we send out, monthly we send out a piece of marketing material that really educates people on all the changes in the marketplace, and wanted to know if we could include you in that email campaign. And then they obviously are going to say yes. You then verify the best email. You then verify the best address, because you want to make sure that they're getting your calendar, right? Now you simply take a notepad, you write them a simple note, and then you drop that little notepad that they can put on their refrigerator. And now that's their first piece of value that you're offering to them. And then now you're staying top of mind. You have the campaign. If you'd like to get access to that, go to agentgrowthmap.com and you can get free access to that as well. Hopefully that little nugget will help you grow and start gaining momentum. But anyway, you look at your 5 pillars. You have your sphere of influence. What additional pillar can you add? And then what systems can you put in place. Get really clear on what that is. See, one of the things that many people do is they chase shiny objects when they're watching a YouTube video, when they're watching some kind of training on Facebook, whatever it is, and they chase the shiny object and they don't finish where they started. So optimize, maximize. So when we talk about database automation, are you driving leads to your database? And if you are driving leads, what are those? Is it Google? Is it Facebook? Okay, once you drive it and you bring a lead in, who's going to be calling that lead? Are you calling it within the first 5-10 minutes? Is it you? Is it somebody else? Is it a member on your team? Again, getting clear and putting the right steps in place so that way you have that follow-up system. Because you can spend a lot of money burning through leads, but if you don't properly follow up, you're not going to convert them. And if you don't convert the lead and the opportunity, you're not going to convert it and turn it to cash. Now, the other thing is what many people go is, well, how do I do this? How do I do that? Maybe you're a place in your business where it's not how, but it's who. Who can you put in place? Is it a matter of looking at what is the dynamics of your team? Maybe it's long-term down the road you want to have and you want to grow a team. So step back looking at your organization. Look at your org chart. Who's the top of company? Here's the sales. Here's the sales side of things, and then here is the administration side of things. Now, initially, as you break things out in all of the different job responsibilities, your name is going to be in every single box. But what the goal is you take the lowest hanging fruit. You look down the bottom and say, who's putting up the signs? Who's doing the lock boxes? Who's doing the flyers? Some of those really simple things. What do I need to do? How much money do I need and deals do I need to generate to start delegating these pieces? Then typically the next hire is going to be a transaction coordinator. And now there's plenty of third-party companies out there, and we're happy to shoot me a message. I'm happy to give you some recommendations. But there's plenty of third-party companies out there that'll do it on a per transaction basis, and they're typically $350, $450, something like that. That's how you start to build, because you're gaining momentum and you're being very intentional with your time and where you put your time. Now, the next thing is you look at your org chart, you figure out who your next hire is, then maybe eventually you want to bring on a sales partner because you're generating too many leads, and so you want to bring that partner on. But you also, when you bring a partner on, make sure you have a vision of where you're going, because you're going to need to train that person. So as you continue to grow, documenting your systems along the way of how I did this, how I do that. That way when you hire the who, they're going to know exactly what steps to put in place. And it's much easier to do it while you're going through the process than all of a sudden waiting until you all of a sudden hire that person. Like, okay, now you need to call this person this many times and so forth. So really document the journey and document the process. Now, the big thing as you are stepping back, you're identifying, okay, here's where I got my business. Here's where my 1, 2, 3 key pillars of lead generation, where my focus is going to be. Here's how I'm going to communicate with clients. Okay, now you want to step back and say, okay, annually, how much revenue do I want to earn? How many transactions do I need to get me to that next level? Again, looking at, are brand new to the business, 5, 10, 15, 28 years like myself, we're always still doing our annual planning. Maybe you're on super growth mode. I remember many a times where we were on super growth mode. I'm like, I can't even plan 12 months out because we're just running and gunning. So we stepped back, we said, okay, let's look at 6 months. What does 6 months look like? And then we made quarterly priorities. And we said, okay, for the first quarter, here's our top 3 priorities. I can't touch anything else, and the only thing I can touch is if it's going to move the needle on one of those 3 quarterly priorities. What that does is it takes all the shiny objects out of the picture, and it really allows you to be laser focused on what those are. So at a high level, it's going to be production. It's going to be agent growth, building my team, building our partner model. And then how do I add value and build our database so we're continually generating referrals, but most importantly, taking care of our clients and maximizing those relationships. So getting really laser clear on what those quarterly priorities are. And then what you want to do is make sure that you're tracking everything, because what's not tracked is not measured. That's where you're wasting your money. I've made so many mistakes through the years of not tracking it, and I didn't measure it, and then I didn't know where my money went. I spent a lot of money, I made a lot of money, I spent a lot of money. Sometimes I spent a lot of money, didn't make any money. So you want to track it. Also, you want to have accountability, whether it's yourself, whether it's your team. One of the things that's really helped us is we do a SOD, which is a start of day, and we do an EOD, which is end of day. So our admin team and agents, the start of the day is going to be a positive thought and what their goal is for the day. And a goal, everything's measurable, because at the end of the week, we want to look at what success looks like. And then at the end of the day, they're going to be what their accomplishments were, any bottlenecks, and anything they need from me for me to support them moving forward. And at the end of the week, we review and we look and say, okay, what was your accomplishments? What does success look like? Where did you fall short? And when we fall short, we always fall forward. Okay, so we look at the SODs and the EODs, because again, we're measuring everything. One of the other things, especially with agents, newer agents, and even veteran agents, is what days are you calling? What times are you calling? Being really intentional with your time, so you know exactly when you're going to call people, when you're going to be meeting with people. And then when you are dialing, who are you calling? What time are you calling? What's your dial projection? How many dials is there going to be? Because the goal is, you look at your calendar. When you manage your calendar on a daily and a weekly and monthly basis, you can look back and reflect, because you're measuring things. That's where you can look back and say, okay, here's where I made my wins, and here's where I had my shortfallings. Whenever I have a rough week and I look at my accomplishments and I'm falling short, I reflect back, and it always comes back to my calendar. So manage your day, manage your week, and also be very transparent with your team, because you want to hold everybody accountable. And if you don't have a team, make sure you have some accountability partners, a mentor, a coach, whoever, that can help you through that process. Next thing you want to do is consistently build your pipeline. Everything, the money is in the pipeline. So many people, I had a coach early on in my career said, Kevin, everyone chases the now buyer, the now seller, but the easiest opportunities are the 90-day, 120-day client. The people that are just thinking about it, but not quite ready. How do you have something in place to nurture and provide value to them, every month, so 60, 90, 120 days? That is your pipeline. Those are the people that you're going to be warming up by adding value and getting them ready and advancing them through the process by value, not by selling them, right? You want to add value, and then they're going to, you're going to build that relationship, and that's going to be your next client. So continue to build the pipeline. Make sure you have the follow-up systems. Your engagement, talking about the land, the air, the sea, the postcards. And when you talk about postcards, you can maximize different systems as far as send out cards, where it actually does it for you. It's automated. Okay, you can use BombBomb, which you can have a video. So when you look at your database. It's a gold mine, because you can label all of your clients, where you label them per year, so you know if they've been in the home 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 5, 10, 15, whatever the number is. Do one video and then congratulate them. Hey, congratulations, man, it's been an amazing year. Thank you for trusting us in 2021. Or then you could send a separate video. I can't believe it's been 2 years since you've been in your home, 3 years, whatever it is. Now you're doing just a couple of videos versus a video for every single person. All kinds of ways to leverage your time, but also leveraging the technology and everything that's out there. So focus on the top 3 quarterly priorities, and that's going to give you a win and help you crush it this next year and grow and scale your business. If you'd like to have more resources and learning how to grow your business, feel free to go to agentgrowthmap.com. You get the free download on our 8-stage blueprint on how to grow and scale your business. And however we can help you out, drop a message. You can always reach us, kevinsellco.com.